I think, welcome everybody. That'll be the best intro to this we've ever had. Hi, art students and art lovers. I am Mr. Smith. With me today, as always, Miss Eedle down in the box beneath me here. And in the box above both of us, the top today, our guest analyst for week 5, the first semifinal matchup here, Mr. Fisher and his special guest. Mr. Fisher, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hello, little one. For our students, our wonderful art students who are watching this, there is the potential that any of the 3 babies in our lives, we each have a baby that's around this age right here, this little gal right here, could disrupt this. So go with just go with it. Just let us be parents too. It's all good. It's all good. Miss Eedle, what happened last week?
So last week we had Mary Cassatt, who was our American Impressionist, versus MC Escher, who is kind of known as our, I guess we could say, our illusionist, screen kind of printer and also printmaker. And we had a winner who was MC Escher. So he won by a lot, by I think almost 90% of people who voted for MC Escher. So we have a clear winner here, and he will match up against Antoni Gaudi when we do our game next week. So today we're kind of jumping into our semifinals, and we had in our first game, we had Kehinde Wiley versus Elena Sui, and Kehinde Wiley won. And then in our second game, we had Barbara Hepsworth against Christo and Jeanne-Claude, and Jeanne-Claude won. So today we're just going to do a really quick recap, and then we really want to hear what Mr. Fisher has to say about these and who he's going to vote for. So do you want to talk about Kehinde Wiley, Mr. Smith?
One of my favorite contemporary artists, and I am always, I've said this a couple times in our videos here, I am drawn to American artists, especially contemporary American work. We can bring that in as much as we can. I love to, and I'm a huge fan of Kehinde Wiley, making his presence felt and portraiture and then design. He's, again, as it says here, an American artist from Los Angeles. A lot of his works, like the ones you see right here, he's taking Americans, or sometimes they're not even Americans. He's done things in Port-au-Prince and Haiti and other countries, but he takes young men, young women of color and puts them in these poses, in these compositions where it's sort of imitating old European paintings, which tended to be, again, you're talking Europe, you're talking England, you're talking Denmark, talking things like that, tended to be richer, wealthier, white individuals. So this contrast of modern people in old settings and people of color versus white, it's a wonderful juxtaposition, wonderful statement, and he is an incredibly talented artist. Mr. Fisher, what do you got for Kehinde Wiley? What do you think?
I'm just amazed by all the different colors, for one. I was looking at this, I was looking at the video you guys showed with me too, and it was the stained glass too, I thought was incredible. Mm-hmm. Just the realism, I think, is amazing too. Like, I don't know how he can capture that much detail in painting and in stained glass. I think it's incredible to see like the lines and just how neat everything looks. Like almost like it's a printed off picture of the people. It's just incredible how accurate.
I think my comment on this, on his statements, on his positions, sort of overemphasized that he's bizarrely talented. Like, the guy is remarkably talented with the paintbrush.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting about his work too is it's got the kind of awe and amazement that, you know, these realistic paintings have that we look at in museums, but it's modernized, it's made contemporary. We see clothing from today's era, so it's this old style with a new context and just executed so amazingly that you can't, and there's so much to look at with all the patterns. You can kind of get lost in these too, which is also really, really cool. So we have Kehinde Wiley, and then we've got Christo and Jeanne-Claude, and these were our husband and wife team, and they did these massive large-scale installations from, like you see at the top here, installing umbrellas to covering buildings to even covering landscapes. In the video we showed you guys when, what was it, game 2, we showed you floating piers, which is something I've have loved to have seen in Italy, having these islands jet out into the smaller islands so people could walk on this fabric like it was floating, and these just kind of large scale things that really make you challenge and think about your environment, make you think about just the things around you, and when these large things are kind of interrupted into that space, make you think about how that form falls into its environment. So Mr. Fisher, what do you think of these?
Well, as the math teacher here, the first thing I thought of was surface area. So we actually have a unit that's called like covering, and like actually there's one in 6th grade called covering and surrounding, where students have to work with covering, you know, different kinds of materials. And I was just thinking about like the sheer magnitude of math you'd have to do to calculate how to cover a building. I mean, to me, that's just mind-boggling. I don't know how you would do that. So it's amazing to see.
I'd love to see the equation that could come from a math student for covering.
Watching the video on the piers, like the fact that they had to make all these individual cubes and then fill up some with water and connect them, like it's incredible.
Well, and covering the entire Reichstag with that curtain material, I mean, holy moly.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool and kind of unique about them as a paired coupling is a lot of these ideas are 10, 15 years old, and they can take decades to come into actuality before they're, you know, all the planning and things have to go in, which is not always true for artists. Usually you would say an artist would come up with something and they'd make it right away, or it maybe take a couple years to create, but to have decades to see your vision come to actuality is also really amazing in itself, aside from what they're actually producing. So between these two artists, we've got Kehinde Wiley and we've got Christo and Jean-Claude. Mr. Fisher, it's down to you. What do you think?
This was really hard for me. I think both are amazing for such different reasons. I think just the level of detail from Wiley is what really stands out to me, and then just the amount of work that goes into these massive projects from Jean-Claude. Made me kind of, I was bouncing back and forth a lot, but I think just because of how much I appreciate how hard it must be for Wiley to make his, I think he's the winner for me.
Oh, Mr. Smith, what about you?
What I love about our math teacher guests in the box to my north here is I would land in the same place. I love Christo and Jean-Claude's stuff. I can't get past Kehinde Wiley's talent, like his ability to paint. Maybe it's because I love painting. Just his pure, the hard work, the give and take, however you want to look at it, the skill that goes into these. I can't get over it, and I would say Kehinde Wiley too.
I guess I'm going to be the odd duck out. I love Christo and Jean-Claude's work. I saw their stuff in Central Park with the gates and the Mastaba in London, and I just think I love the idea of art that engages people, that is not just art to necessarily view, which is like traditional museum art, but art that the people are actually a part of the work. Like floating piers wouldn't exist and wouldn't be the same if people couldn't walk on it. Yeah. So I'm a big sucker for large installation artworks that the people are almost a part of the art. So we'll see what the students, like which way they sway and which one they pick. I know my kids have seen both these artists before. Mr. Smith, your kids have seen Kehinde Wiley before. So we're just going to have to see who wins.
And students, once again, that is in your hands as I stare at my camera all weird like. You are at the holding the power on this and get in there and vote. Mr. Fisher, thank you so much for being our guest analyst today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was great.
All right, and as always, if you need anything, you can reach all three of us, up and below and down, wherever we appear. We're here for you, and we miss you guys lots. All right, bye, guys.
Take care, guys.